I've got a question for all of you. Who here likes Big Finish? Well, today's your lucky day because I'll be reviewing my first ever Big Finish audio. So sit back and enjoy my first ever Big Finish review.
Hello guys, and welcome back to a brand new Doctor Who review. Now in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing something completely different. It's not like any other Doctor Who DVD review. No, I'm going to be reviewing something that I've never reviewed in my life. It's the same topic on Doctor Who, yes, but I've never reviewed this Doctor Who story in that format at all. This is something completely new to me. Today I'm going to be reviewing my first ever Big Finish audio. Now for me, Big Finish is a term that seems oblivious to me. I am completely new to Big Finish. Although it was introduced way back in the 1990s and stuff like that, so when all of the amazing Big Finish audios with like Paul McGann and the 6th Doctor, the 5th Doctor and the 7th Doctor were released, I didn't know about them at all because I wasn't born at the time. However, I know that many people crave about Big Finish because they think it's their cup of tea. For me, I've always been intrigued to the TV series, the episodes and the classic stories. I've always been intrigued with those types of stories. However, I've not really had the opportunity to get into Big Finish. Big Finish seems so oblivious to me that I just don't know where to start. And for many people, they like to crave about like, oh, the Chimes of Midnight, Jubilee, the Holy Terror, all of these amazing stories. And I'm trying to think, right, what's one story which I can go to that introduces me to Big Finish, but it doesn't really show me like the perfection kind of stories. And one friend, and this is my good friend Aaron from All Things Doctor Who, he showed me a website, the Big Finish website, and he showed me a order of spare parts that was only going for £1, and it was the date after World Enough and Time aired, and they were doing a discount, and I really wanted to get it before it ended, so I got it, and I had it on my phone for quite a while, and unfortunately I've not had the time to listen to spare parts at all, and today I'm going to be reviewing spare parts, but also tell you about my first ever Big Finish experience, because for me I think it's truly wonderful that this story, Spare Parts, is a truly wonderful story, and with my first ever listen to it just last night, I absolutely loved it to bits. Like in the TV stories, you can say so much that you like about TV, about Doctor Who's story. For Big Finish, although I don't have the DVD with me or anything like that, Big Finish is completely different to me. And in a way of how I'm reviewing things, I think it will truly be difficult for me. However, the one thing that I truly liked about Spare Parts was the atmosphere, the horror. It was truly a dark story. I truly loved how this was the beginning, the birth of the Cybermen. Many people could argue that this is the proper Genesis of the Cybermen, not like with World Enough and Time in Series 10. Many people say that World Enough and Time is a mock-up of Spare Parts, but yet again, many people said that about The Age of Steel and The Rise of the Cybermen in the new series as well. So there were loads of debates whether World Enough and Time is Genesis of the Cybermen or is Spare Parts the proper Genesis of the Cybermen. It's debatable. However, I'm not going to go into too much detail on whether it's the proper Genesis of the Cybermen. However, I absolutely adored this story because Spare Parts just sound like an intriguing title. And when I listened to Spare Parts, when I was just lying down on my bed just thinking about what to do while I'm listening to Spare Parts, sometimes there were loads of moments when I can just fiddle around with stuff just while listening to the Big Finish audio, and there's sometimes where I'm working and I don't really want to have Big Finish on in my headphones, because otherwise I'll be just distracted by Big Finish and not focusing on my work and stuff like that. So I see that Big Finish is quite a very difficult thing to get into because you need to have your own set of mood to it. Like, you only have like a special chair, or maybe have like some kind of mood to probably put yourself in a place where you can just listen to something and you're not fiddling around with anything that distracts you or anything like that. Sometimes it happened for me for my first experience. I remember lying down on my bed and just thinking to myself, just doing this with my fingers and just doing all of that with my hair and stuff, but it was quite difficult for me to truly get into that Big Finish experience because it's not like a TV story where you've got the visuals for it. Spare Parts is completely different, and so I obviously that Big Finish is not always my cup of tea because I always rely on the visuals for help when it comes to reviews. However, with this review, Spare Parts, there are no visuals to it, but what would be brilliant if there were visuals to it, and that would be such of an incredible Doctor Who story. And unfortunately it was going to be a Doctor Who story on TV, however I don't think they had the money for it, and so I think they had to replace it. But I don't think that, you know, Spare Parts was replaced by Earthshock. I think it was morely just subdued by the amount of the money they had. They didn't have the money to use all of the great effects to create that kind of atmosphere. And so I really, really like Spare Parts. I think it's such of an atmospheric, dark, chilling story, and it's the proper birth of the Cybermen. You truly get to see the Cybermen at their best. The Mondasian Cybermen are absolutely spine-chilling with their voices. Although you don't see them, you always have that voice telling you that they are so creepy, and that just the way that they speak is almost like still human. They still have that human element, but they have all of their emotions taken away from them. And I absolutely love the Cybermen in this. They are really, really creepy. They're almost like silent killers, like silent people that creep up behind you and they attack you from behind. I see them in this story, and I think that one of the cyber leaders, I think Commander Zen, he's really good in this. And I don't know everybody's character and stuff like that. However, I remember all of the characters being absolutely wonderful in this, and I think every character had a part to play. I even liked even the humans, or like the supporting characters. Like, I think one person was called Frank, another person was called Yvonne, and then you had the dad as well. I thought they were really great characters, really relatable characters. And then you had Nissa, who I thought was really fantastic in it. She was optimistic and she was wondering on how to save these people from the evil Cybermen. And then you have the Doctor in it, Peter Davison as the Doctor. And in this story, I see a very much different tone to his Doctor. Peter Davison is such a young and quite emotional Doctor, but I never see a dark side of him at all. And I think the dark personality of his Doctor works incredibly well with this story. And when I said about dark personality with Peter Davison, you don't usually get that in a TV series. You don't see him as a dark Doctor. You feel that Peter Davison is much of an emotional and quite friendly and quite light-hearted Doctor. But in this story, he is completely dark, and I truly love his dark personality. It really connects to the dark atmosphere. I loved how this story had such a creepy and dark setting in the beginning, where there were like police patrols, Cybermen patrols, and nobody should be out after curfew, otherwise you'd be taken away to the committee and stuff like that. So I thought it was a really, really atmospheric, spine-chilling story, and I loved how, you know, there was so much creepy moments, and just the Cybermen were just in at everything. I even liked some of the screams and some of the drilling when they were trying to process and, you know, convert every single human to become Cybermen. And there was one point in the story where all of the power went off, and then there was some patients that were half converted. So some people still had their arms, and still people had like all those robotics kind of stuff. Some of them were completely converted, some of them were not. They were half converted, and then they went out on a rampage and went insane. I really, really liked that a lot. And there was one person, I think it was Yvonne, who got almost converted to become a Cyberman, and then she went back to the family, and then she was like saying dad in a much more like a Cyberman kind of voice, still having that human element, because they are still human in that way, but all the emotions are removed from it. And I absolutely love that, because that little child who became a Mondasian Cyberman, almost a Mondasian Cyberman, half converted should I say, goes back to the family, and just basically the family are just in shock of what's happened, and they realise who this is, and it's where their daughter are like, oh my gosh, it's so heartbreaking for them. But also I think Nissa is absolutely fantastic. She's really optimistic in this. She really wants to help out everybody to stop all of these evil Cybermen from converting everybody. So I think that she has a big role to play in this story, and I truly liked how she really had some great courage, and she's really fantastic in this nevertheless. And I think Big Finish has elevated Nissa so much, but I think in the TV series, I think she's underrated in my opinion. However, she has some good moments in the TV series. However, I liked in this story where she mentioned Adric a couple of times, where he was a victim of the Cybermen, and I really like those references of Adric, just showing that she's also lost somebody to the Cybermen as well. So there's a lot of connectivity to like Earthshock. So I think this is definitely after Earthshock, but I feel like it's like after Time Flight, where Tegan leaves Nissa and the Doctor, and I think this is where perhaps maybe the Doctor and Nissa are going on their little adventures. And I think if this story was replaced by Time Flight or Arc of Infinity, then I would be much happy, because this story would be absolutely amazing to watch with visuals added to it. It would be one of the best classic stories of all time, and just seeing the conversions of all of these people being converted to become Cybermen, that would be such of an absolute brilliant moment to see. And I really like the Mondasian Cybermen in this. I think they're absolutely wonderful. And just for my first ever Big Finish audio, I truly adored this entire experience. For me, as a new person to Big Finish, I've never really had the time to get into Big Finish. I didn't know what story to start off with, because there are many stories where you could start off with Big Finish. However, Spare Parts for me is truly a brilliant beginning for me to get into Big Finish, and I truly loved Spare Parts for what it was, the proper genesis of the Cybermen, the birth of the Cybermen. The characters were amazing, and I think the Cybermen are at their best in this, and this story planned out so well. I think it's even planned before the 10th planet, so once you listen to this, you could go straight into the 10th planet knowing all of this knowledge inside your head about the Cybermen. So that's actually really interesting. But also another interesting element that I really liked about Spare Parts was that the Doctor was in this sort of scanning room, and then there was some point where in the story, and I think it was like in part 4, I think, where the Doctor was like scanning himself, and he produced on, I think he placed an element of his Doctor into every single Cyberman. So whenever he sees another Cyberman or anything like that, he always sees that there's some sort of element that the Doctor's added to these Cybermen. And I really like that interesting element, and I forgot what it was actually. And it was only just because I listened to it last night that I completely forgot about the interesting element. But I remembered that the Doctor did something with the scanner, and he did something that every single Cyberman had of like some kind of element of the Doctor. And I think that was really interesting. I need to have a listen back over it, just to really know what was that about and stuff. But I think Spare Parts is a truly wonderful Big Finish audio, and for my first ever Big Finish audio, I truly love it to bits. And I think when you have a Big Finish story, your first ever Big Finish story, I think it has to be one story where many people say it's a great story, it's a great start to get you into Big Finish. And I think Spare Parts is a perfect start for me to get into Big Finish. And now the question is, well, the question is now up to you guys. Guys, can you please recommend some Big Finish audios to me? I don't want you to recommend the most best and most perfect Big Finish audios of all time. No, that's not what I asked for. I want you to just recommend to me some amazing Big Finish audios that you like. I don't want all of these perfection kind of stories thrown at me. I want to start off slow and then I work my way up to the perfection kind of stories. I want you just to suggest to me some great Big Finish audios that I could just really listen to and just really enjoy it. And for me, it will be really fantastic if you guys can recommend some great Big Finish audios to me that maybe later I could review some. And so that's your quest for now on. I want you to recommend some amazing, great Big Finish audios to me, because I really am interested now in Big Finish, and I think it's a topic where I want to talk more Big Finish, because it's a subject that I've never touched upon in my life, and Spare Parts is a truly wonderful Big Finish audio. And for my rating out of 10, as my first ever listen to it, I truly loved it, and I think I might give it a 9.5 out of 10 for my first ever Big Finish audio. I'm not going to rate it like a 10 out of 10, many people might do, but I feel like 9.5 out of 10 is a certainly brilliant rating for Spare Parts, and it's truly the true Genesis of the Cybermen, and I truly love this entire story, and I just wish I could have another listen to it, because it's just truly wonderful. And for my first ever Big Finish audio experience, I truly loved it, and it was such a great new experience for me that I want to know and learn more about this experience. I want more stories to really intrigue me, and just to have more of that Big Finish experience. And so I really want to get more Big Finish audios more than anything, but I really want you to recommend some good Big Finish audios. I don't want you to recommend to me like the best perfect Big Finish audios like The Chance of Midnight, Jubilee, The Holy Terror, all of these amazing and fantastic perfection Big Finish audios. I want you just to recommend some great beginning Big Finish audios for me, because I'm just new to Big Finish and I just don't know where to start. So that's your job for now on, guys. So you need to recommend to me some Big Finish audios. But anyway, guys, that is the end for this review on Spare Parts. I know that this was only just a brief review. However, I think that once you've listened to a Big Finish and then overnight, some of it can get lost in your mind and stuff like that. However, there were some bits that I remembered, and I remember enjoying it. It was so atmospheric. The characters were really good. The Doctor was especially had a much darker element to his Doctor. The Doctor did what he had to do. He tried to alternate the course of history with the Cybermen, but he did what he can. And unfortunately, the Doctor didn't win in the end. But then, at the very end, the Cybermen started to come back, and they started to convert more and more people. So it wasn't the end for the Cybermen. It was merely enough the beginning for the birth, for the genesis of the Cybermen. And the Cybermen in it are absolutely stunning. And one thing I really liked was the Cyber Planner, and I think that was really well executed, and I wish I could just see the visuals, because the visuals will just be absolutely amazing. And Spare Parts is a truly atmospheric, spine-chilling and dark story to listen to, and I cannot wait for more recommended for you guys. But anyway, guys, thank you very much, guys, for watching for my first ever Big Finish review. I hope you have enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like on this video, and also please comment down below and tell me what do you think of Spare Parts. Please do comment down below, and remember to comment down below some recommendations for me to get into Big Finish. I really want to get into Big Finish, because I think it's something that I've not touched upon, and I feel like that I should have done a long time ago. So please recommend some Big Finish audios to me, and please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you very much, guys, for watching, and I will see you guys next time. And I'm planning to do my top 10 episode 2s next time, so that will be all of the episode 2s from the modern series, and so that will be what we're going to be doing next time. So thank you very much, guys, for watching, and I'll see you guys next time for that. Until then, guys, see you guys later, and have a good day. See you guys later.